Thanks for sticking with us here on New York Living. Hey, listen, it's heating up literally and figuratively. It is moving season.
It is moving season.
Here in New York City.
Which it's like hell week for many. Navigating, of course, like the city's unique, overwhelming housing market can leave even the savviest renters feeling like outsiders. We're now joined by housing advocate Allia Mohamed, who has made it her mission to keep both native New Yorkers and newcomers in the know.
Oh my gosh, she is here with 5 essential steps every renter needs to know before moving this summer. Welcome to New York Living, Allia. You're like a breath of fresh air.
You really are.
Everyone on the floor has peppered you with 12 questions, so clearly this is your calling.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the first thing you're asking renters to do is be patient until mid-June, which is like 2.5 weeks. Yeah. Why is that?
Absolutely. So there is a law that renters have been waiting to go into effect for quite some time, and it's called the FAIR Act. It goes into effect next week, June 11th. And basically what it says is whoever hires the real estate broker is responsible for paying the broker fee. So typically renters are on the hook for paying this broker fee. Sometimes it's thousands of dollars. But if they push their apartment hunt just a couple weeks, they can save on that cost.
Oh my God, that's like
I forgot about
massive change.
Massive change.
Because,
Okay.
Number 2, research your building and landlord first.
100%. 100%. This is the biggest inspiration behind why I started Open Igloo. When I was apartment hunting in New York, I used to stand outside of buildings waiting for people walking in and out saying, hey, do you live here? Should I move in? So I always encourage renters to do research on the building and landlord before you sign that lease. So you can go to openigloo.com, read and share reviews about your rental experiences, access city data on the properties you're considering, and find out who you're renting from.
Right.
Okay.
It's good to know. Yeah, talk to the talk to the other tenants.
Exactly right.
Are there critters that we don't need to be?
Absolutely. Something could look good, but then you get into the weeds and it's not what it seems.
And when you
like
go
my dating life.
And when you go into an apartment, flush the toilet, see if things work.
Do you run everything?
Yeah.
You don't use the bathroom.
Check the water pressure. Turn on the faucet. It takes 1 second.
Okay.
Seek rent stabilized or good cause units. What is that?
A big pain point that we've heard from renters across the 5 boroughs is skyrocketing rents. You go through this horrendous apartment hunt, you move in, and the following year you're stuck with a 20% rent increase.
Yeah.
Then you got to move, then you're in the race all over again. So we really encourage prioritize finding a rent stabilized apartment or an apartment where good cause eviction applies. These are regulations that limit the increases that your landlord is allowed to give you. And renters always say, Allia, how on earth do I find one of these apartments? And it's one of the things we've prioritized on Open Igloo is setting those filters so you can actually search for those apartments specifically.
That's fantastic.
Hold on, I have a quick follow-up because
okay.
it brings me to our first question, which you said push your move until mid-June because this new law.
Yes.
The FAIR Act.
The FAIR Act goes into it. How do we hold the landlords or the other parties accountable? Since it's so new, if I'm a landlord and I'm shiesty, I may be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
This is such an important question, and enforcement is a really big challenge in New York City. And unfortunately, it's on the renters really to hold their landlords accountable, to hold their brokers accountable. So we really encourage renters to send that email. Don't be shy. Say, hey, just checking in. It seems like you're raising my rent above the allowable increase.
There isn't a New York City government entity that you can CC on that email?
Yeah, I wish. You can absolutely call 311. There are tons of tenant resources from the city and other nonprofit organizations that you can leverage if you find yourself in a little bit of hot water with your landlord.
What do you mean by knowing how early to start and how to get organized?
Yeah, so unfortunately, New York is one of those markets where people are always apartment hunting 2 weeks before their lease ends. They need to move on the 1st. It's super stressful, and then they sort of just pick something that, you know, whatever comes available. And we really want to encourage renters to start that search early, 3, 4, 5 months in advance.
Wow.
And you might be thinking, how on earth can I do that in this type of market? And what we've been trying to do on Open Igloo is actually help renters do that apartment search in advance. So predicting when apartments might become available so you can start that search earlier than normal.
Okay.
Ooh, and then always try to be flexible.
100%. So I talk to my friends about this all the time. They're like, I want the doorman, I want the in-unit washer and dryer, I want the exposed brick,
puppy park.
I want the pre-war charm. And I'm like, hold your horses. The longer your list is of requirements, the smaller your pool of apartments are. So I always say, hey, pick 1 or 2 essentials for your apartment hunt, and then just make sure you're finding good landlord, good management, location, budget, all the important things.
And there was something important that it's not on your tips, but we're talking to one of the producers here, and you're saying that a landlord could only raise the rent what percentage year to year?
So it depends on what kind of apartment it is. So for rent-stabilized apartments, and there's nearly 1 million rent-stabilized apartments, the Rent Guidelines Board votes on that increase, and that vote is coming up in June as well. And then there's good cause eviction, which is a separate law that applies to non-stabilized apartments. The limit is 5% plus inflation, or 10%, whichever is lower. But there is a caveat, it doesn't apply to all apartments. So if you type your address into openaigloo.com, you can see if those laws apply to your building.
I mean, when people see you coming, they are either like cheering your praises or they're like, not her. Good for you. Thanks for doing the research.
You're like the Aaron Brockovich of apartment renting.
Oh my goodness, thank you very much. My mom is going to be happy about that.
Viewers learned a lot. Thank you so much. If you need more practical guidance and renters advice, check out Open Igloo across all social media. Also, the info is on your screen. Good to know.